espero que nadie se ofenda, pero hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Só nós sentimos assim. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. O valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. For us, it's evening. Welcome to another O Cantinho Benfiquista podcast. Today, we are joined by the normal crew, myself, Oscar, Jason, Kenny, and we got another friend from north of the border, Sergio. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hey, Sergio.
How are you?
Welcome, bud.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Joining us. We got some of you guys might recognize the face. He had a video that went fairly viral recently, holding his daughter. And Luka Waldschmidt scores a last second goal.
That was my son. My daughter's the Champions League girl.
Oh, that's what it was. I got to.
And then my son was the one recently where I was just holding him and happened to
Waldschmidt
score.
scored.
I didn't plan it, guys. I didn't call Waldschmidt and say, you need to call exactly at this time because I'm turning on my phone so I can go viral. It just happened, right? So that was cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so you guys might recognize him. But today we're going to cover Benfica's 2-0 win against Tondela last week. We will talk about today's game against Estrela de Amadora in the Taça de Portugal. We move on to the next round. And then we will speak about Friday's match against Porto. Probably some mixed emotions here in regards to what to expect and how we feel going into it, but we'll talk about that. And as always, everyone in the chat, feel free to join us, share your thoughts, share your opinions. Says you already got a fan, that throwback jersey. It is a throwback.
Hey, this is from Vietnam. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, the Benfica
1997. Okay. Back in 1997, João Pinto on the back.
Yeah.
You know.
That's Jay's favorite player.
I love that guy.
There you go.
I grew up with. I heard the rumor that you guys have a low. It's very similar to Benfica. Your median age is low, so you invited me to bring the median age of the club.
So, hey, I remember
30, right?
I'm 33, gonna be 34, so I remember those Vietnam years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'm 39. I grew up on Vietnam.
There you go.
Unfortunately, it was during the best time of my life, during my teenage years, and to always go to school. I was telling you guys before how I grew up in an area that was all Açorianos, but also some of them were Portistas, and I used to always hate it when Mari Jardel used to score or Doriva used to score on us, Edmilson, all those guys. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like it was the worst time to be a Benfiquista. That was high school. University was even worse when you had the years that we finished, seventh? But at least we had Sabri, right? Score that crazy goal against Sporting, and that was it. That was the glory years.
That was his one moment.
Right.
All right, let's get into Benfica Tondela 2-0. Benfica started with Odysseus, Gilberto, Vertonghen, Otamendi, Grimaldo, Rafa, Weigl, Pizzi, Everton, Seferovic, and Darwin. A game that we controlled. I'm of the opinion that I thought we started much better. We showed a little bit more intensity, a little bit more drive, a little bit more purpose. 68% possession. Tondela, which I expected a lot more of after they went to the Weigl and lost 4-3, and then they lost 2-1. So they gave them a pretty good challenge just before Christmas in 2 games. So I expected a lot more from them. Benfica, I thought, played well. Tondela had 2 shots. They had a header at the beginning in the first half, which was at the edge of the box, didn't really cause any problems for Odysseus. And then the save at the end of the game, which saves us the game, I think. Those are the only 2 plays, really, that they had. Sergio, I'll start with you since you're the guest. I guess what was your thought overall in terms of the performance, in terms of the game? And then I'll ask you, in conjunction with that, what were your thoughts kind of in terms of the team's attitude and intensity? Did you see anything different? Is it still kind of mediocre and they're lacking, or what were your thoughts?
I mean, it was a typical game of we're used to seeing over the last couple of years with Rui Vitória, with Lage, with Jorge Jesus. We start off strong in the first half, and then we kind of just sit back. We score that goal, and then we sit back and kind of just run the timeout, right? Especially at home. Away, it's a different story because you're always hoping not to concede away, but you kind of rest on the fact that you're at home, you're comfortable, you kind of know where you're playing, and this is the same thing with this game. We played really well in the first half. We had a lot of chances, didn't convert them, which has been typical of us this year. A lot of shots wide and not converted chances. And then in the second half, after that goal, we kind of just sat back. And yeah, so again, very typical of this Benfica lately, the last couple of years, regardless of the manager. So it probably falls back on the players themselves, right?
Do you think that? I thought that the second half was. I think we started well and then we kind of leveled out, and I thought the 2nd half was a little bit better. But you mentioned the players. Do you think it's right? There's a lot of fingers being pointed at JJ with good cause. But when it comes to the level of intensity and the level of effort, it comes to a point that you have to point the finger at the players too, right? Like he can tell you all that you need to know,
sure.
But you're the one that acts in the field, right? What do you think creates this? And did you see anything different that kind of stood out against Tondela?
I mean, here's one thing I can say. The fact that you've got a player like Otamendi, who's an experienced player, but he comes with baggage. The fact that he's the most aggressive one and is the one that's kind of setting the tone speaks volumes about the core of this team, or the core players that have been there for the last 5, 6, 7 years. The players like Pizzi, the players like Rafa, Grimaldo, players like that. I mean, they should know. They should know. They have to play with intensity for all 90 minutes. And the fact that Otamendi has to step in and show that intensity or be a leader in that regard, and being from Porto, I mean, that speaks volumes to me, right? Like, and he said that at the end of the match, that's what this team lacks is the intensity for all 90 minutes, not just the first 45, or if you're struggling the first half, showing up in the second half, all 90 minutes. That's what this team has been lacking lately, is that intensity. And that falls back not on JJ, but that falls back on the players, all 11 players, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Kenny, what were your thoughts on the game? And my question to you is, in perfect timing, it's like we planned it. Sergio mentions Otamendi, and my question for you is going to be: Have we started to come around in terms of Otamendi? I know there was a lot of criticism to begin with. He had that blunder against Marítimo. Portuguese people have the tendency to always say, "Oh, he came from Porto." Conspiracy theories. Oscar is the king of the conspiracy theories. So, are we convinced yet? Do we still need some convincing? I guess so. Again, your thoughts, and then thoughts on Otamendi as well.
Yeah, I think Sergio pretty much touched up on everything that happened in that game. Nothing unusual, typical struggles that we've been seeing past couple of games. What did stand out was Otamendi's performance. I mean, I've been on Otamendi's side and defending him on here since the day he got here. He has had his blunders, but I mean, if there was anything that came out of that game, it was Otamendi's performance. He was, for me, the man of the match, and yeah, I just wish that a lot of the other players just kind of felt that pressure, because I feel like Otamendi was kind of feeling the pressure, and getting rotated in and out of the starting squad, and he's finally getting in the form and in the Otamendi that we're kind of used to seeing playing for other teams. So hopefully that kind of kind of spreads amongst the team, and the other players start showing that garra that we want them to play with.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like Sergio said at the end of the game, his comment was, this team needs to change their mentality. right? And I think, like Cedric said, I think that's telling that someone who's fairly new to the team, but someone who knows the league, someone who's been on the other side of it, right? He knows what the expectation is of Benfica, of Porto. So I think it's good to see him starting to come around. Oscar, would you add anything about the game? And then my question for you is about Weigl. He's starting to get a run of games. Are we starting to kind of see what he can bring to the team? Do we still think he's not fit for the team? What are your thoughts?
All right. There's 3 players at the beginning of the season until like the 5th, 6th, 8th jornada, I basically shat on, right? It was Gilberto, Otamendi, and Weigl. And those are the 3 that have been impressing me the most the last 3-4 games. All right. So hands down, I like I said, I admit when I'm wrong, and I at the beginning, like Tank when he complained about Pizzi, he had the right to complain about Pizzi. If he wasn't performing, he wasn't performing. So I had the right to complain about those guys. They were not performing. They were annoying me, and I said it, and I was vocal about it. Now they're impressing me. Gilberto, against Tondela, is probably my MVP. He was probably the best player on the field. Like the guy is shooting, attacking, defending, running up and down the field. Like that's at this point right now. Even though I think that Almeida takes a spot back, he's gonna have a challenge. I don't know if he'll take it back just like that. Jesus might keep Gilberto going. Otamendi has been impressing me. He's been our most solid center back since the blunder against that he did against Marítimo, I believe, right? Was it Marítimo?
Yeah. Yeah, also against Braga, right? With the communication with
right. And even in the Europa League against Rangers, I believe, when he and Audi kind of had a miscommunication type of thing. New to the team. At the beginning, I kind of had my conspiracy theories and all that, but now listen. This guy's playing good, so there it is. He's playing good.
Hey, Mikey in the chat also agrees. Mikey was one of the ones that was very critical about Otamendi. He said,
he was.
Went from to sit on the bench, and now he's an apologist. So he's changing people's minds.
It's good. It's good that people admit, like, listen, these guys are coming through. They're performing. 3 players, I said Weigl was one of the players I don't mind leaving, and but it's still, if William Carvalho comes in, I don't care if Weigl leaves. That's just saying. That's but he won't. But again.
What about Otamendi's captaincy? You're still not on board with that, though.
Yeah, he doesn't like that. I know he doesn't.
No, I'm not, because I'm not a believer that somebody comes in and gets.
But Oscar, anyone that starts on that team, who's going to lead?
That's what I'm. My next thing was
got to be. That's why
my next thing was going to be that. Like in this squad, I don't see other than like Pizzi. Maybe, but I don't see that.
Well, you say that Pizzi. It's not his attitude. That's not his way of playing. Like he doesn't lead like that way. You said he's not really that much of a leader.
I mean, you do have the Belgian national team captain.
He has
Hogan, right?
But Pizzi has the locker room, so he has to be. If he has the locker room, he has to be some type of leader.
I don't know if he has the locker room. I think he's holding his penis more so than he has the locker room.
But I feel like he does. He has a lot of influence on players. That's what I mean.
Because he jokes around on Twitter and Instagram with those guys and they're buddies, but it doesn't mean he can lead a team against Porto.
And I totally agree with you. But I'm saying he has he's one of the players that has a lot of players on his side.
I think Pizzi demands respect from the Portuguese players, but I think Otamendi kind of brings. Or not even just Otamendi, but Otamendi has more of a spread with the language barrier and things like that. With Vertonghen's like a kind of like the lone wolf on the team. I feel like, but like he kind of with the language.
But he also doesn't speak the language exactly. I think that's a bigger issue.
But Otamendi can kind of bring everyone together.
Mike De Silva brings a good point. He says Odi. That's actually a pretty good, because he's always screaming too. But he's not like
he doesn't speak Portuguese either.
Yeah, that's then there's the language barrier with
during the game.
But before,
if a defender makes a mistake, you see him screaming. I think at the air. He doesn't even scream at the player. I don't think
that's probably true.
But I guess before we get to Jay and his opinion, I want to touch on this one. Christopher D'Souza says, I would love to see more from Serbi. I'm sure Oscar.
You're gonna see him in MLS. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time to see him. God, you.
Yo,
He's out of here.
that
You'll
is
see plenty
hilarious.
of them in MLS.
Hey, Oscar, how do you feel about that comment right now?
About what?
About him, when you just said
Serbi
he's gonna come to the
Oscar
MLS.
wants him to go to Orlando so he can go watch him. Or
Miami.
Absolutely.
but in terms of Audi, I guess just quickly before we go to Jay about Tondela, I'm not a big fan of having the goalie be the captain. I prefer someone that's more in the middle of the field that can kind of see the bigger picture. Yes, the goalie is the furthest guy back, so you could see the whole field, but I'm not a fan of the goalie being the captain. Although I will also say that the expectation shouldn't be that only the captain is the one that leads on the field. I will also say that. But does anyone else feel that same way, or is it just me?
I do, because
so you wouldn't want Vitor Bahia wasn't he a captain of the Portuguese national team?
It's rare. It's rare because you have Iker Casillas who was a captain.
Buffon, right? Gigi Buffon,
Gigi Buffon. You have to be like an epic goalie.
Elite.
But they're goalies because of their status, really.
Right?
Like
they're captains because of their status. I think
if they weren't the captain, everyone's still going to listen to them, right? Because of their status.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, I agree, and I also think like goalies kind of train by themselves. Like they have their own group. They're off on their own doing their own thing. They're not always around the whole team. I mean, on the field it's separate. Like that's why I think you have to be like that more of a huge personality. I don't think Audie's that type of player.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't have a player, especially now with all these new guys. We don't have a player that's vocal. And even though I hate it, I totally am against Otamendi being captain right away like this. He probably is the only guy for the job that we have on this squad right now. That's playing.
Yeah,
I agree.
Jay, what are your thoughts on the Tondela game? And my question for you is Everton. I'm still not seeing enough from Everton, at least consistently. Maybe in practice he's crushing it. I don't know, but in the games, I'm just not seeing enough. I see a spark here and there, but it's not consistent enough. So that's your question.
So about the Everton, I actually went to one of my friend's houses. He lives out in Spencer, and he came. He had like a Brazilian kid there, and he's a Palmeiras fan. And I was like, "Hey, do you know anything about Cebolinha? Like anything about him?" He's like, "Oh, he's so good. He's so good." And I just looked at him. I was like, "He fucking sucks, dude. He hasn't done anything for us right now." He's like, "I heard he's been struggling over there." I was like, "Dude, he hasn't been doing anything." That's the thing with him. I think the talent's there. I think I keep saying give him more time, but I mean, pretty soon he's probably gonna have to come off the bench, and that's gonna be his time because he's not really producing much on the field when he's on. He had one. I feel like he had like 4 to 5 good games, and he's like one of the players that gets played the most. So I think he needs to step it up, and it's like what you said. Maybe he kills it in practice, and then in games he just I don't know. I don't get it.
The only thing with Everton, he comes with that it factor. So Jorge Jesus is a believer in that kind of player. So it can change a game. Yeah, have a horrible.
And I get that, but it's just too many bad. Like it's just turning to be really bad. Like doesn't have a good partnership. Grimaldo pretty much kills it on that side and makes that side at least bearable to watch. He doesn't really do much.
I think the Portuguese league is tough for him, right? It's hard fouls. Like for him to play that Ginga game, it's really hard for him. It's had a difficult time adapting. He's got that it factor, and that's what you want. You want that creative spark. But it's been a little bit of a struggle because I think he's realizing that the Portuguese league is a lot more duro, right? Like the amount of fouls you incur in the Portuguese league compared to Brazil or elsewhere is crazy.
So I don't watch Brazilian soccer, but I keep hearing that it's more open. So maybe that's what it is. Yeah. That you probably have more time to make decisions, and he's not making those quick decisions like he should. But maybe it's because he can't play on the wing and needs to play more central.
But he's also playing in Brazil. He played in a front three. He didn't have to defend. On Benfica, he's playing as a winger that he has to defend. So he's doing a lot more now than he did in Brazil.
But I also bring back Nico Gaetan took him a while to get started at Benfica because he had a really bad rough start too, and he had struggling defending. And then all of a sudden these guys came out. Maybe this is his try year, and we just keep throwing them in there. But I feel like eventually we're gonna have to start thinking of an option, probably coming off the bench. Like maybe that's gonna be an option for him, so he can kind of be like, "Fuck, I got to step up."
I hope so. Do you have any other thoughts on the?
I mean, you guys kind of nailed everything that I was gonna say. Like I thought Gilberto played good, Weigl played good. You started playing ball a little bit better, but then there's lapses in the games that kind of pisses me off a little bit. So defense, I thought played well. So I mean, you guys pretty much nailed it on the head.
Fair. Before we jump
over, are we getting anybody back from COVID this week?
So Gabriel and Servi are recovered, but they don't have any game time. So it'd be interesting to see if he gets called up. I would have expected him to get called up today, at least Gabriel, to get some minutes for the game on Friday, but he didn't. So I'm still of the opinion that I said at the beginning of the season. I think there's something there with JJ and Gabriel. I'm still of the opinion of it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he left this month.
Gabriel started off well too, and then all of a sudden, boom.
I don't know. It's interesting. Let's talk about. Give me your man of the match, play of the match, moment of the match. Doesn't have to be one of each. Just what's the one thing that stood out to you? Player doesn't have to be Benfica's player. It could have been the ref, whatever the hell you want to say. Jay, I'll start with you.
We're talking Tondela game.
Yep.
I would say Gilberto. I think he's really impressed me the last probably 6 or 7 games now. I think he's got a good streak going for himself. So I think he's really been impressing me, and I think he deserves some recognition.
Fair. Oscar?
Yeah, I'm in the same opinion. I said it earlier. Gilberto, to me, was the guy that impressed me the most against Tondela. He had a few shots on goal that, like the one-time volley that if you guys remember at the first half, where it just came by the post. It was like a legit volley. I don't know who crossed it from the right.
Otamendi.
Yeah, it was a volley.
Left-footed.
Yeah, I'm like, this kid can actually shoot. Holy shit! But yeah, he was Gilberto to me was the guy of the match.
All right, before we go to the next two, I forgot to mention at the beginning, Exotic Dream Rentals, our sponsor. I forgot to mention it when we started. Exotic Dream Rentals, check them out on Facebook. You can book directly on their Facebook page. Let them know, or let Patrick know we sent you. Save $10 off per day per your rental. So again, Exotic Dream Rentals. And then another thing, Bill, who most of you guys will know. Shout out to him and his missus. They had a baby girl.
Congrats, Billy.
Another Benfica fan to the crew, and she was born on perfect timing. She gets to see first Benfica, Continue Benfiquista podcast, and just in time for a victory today and the Porto game on Friday. Hopefully, it's a good one. Sergio, what was your moment, player? Whatever you want.
Player is a toss-up. I mean, Otamendi for sure. I think he was a boss in the back. Darwin, I really liked Darwin in the game. I think he felt he was a lot more confident. I think he scored. I believe he scored a goal.
He assisted too.
He assisted both.
He assisted on both, right?
He scored. One was offsides. The VAR
it was offside, right? Because there's two moments in my head that I kind of in the match. I mean, that offside goal, which could have been potentially a penalty as well, and then the one moment that I'm going to point to was Tondela's really their only chance. Can you imagine if that had gone in?
It's over.
This whole conversation would have been a different tone.
Oh yeah,
completely like what you guys did with the Santa Clara game after that match. If that goal had gone in, it would have been a completely different match. And I don't think Luka Washmi would have saved our ass again with a 95th minute goal. So I think that was the moment of the match. Everyone's heart was in their throat, like, holy fuck, again. They literally have no chances in the match whatsoever. And they get that one fluke chance and they almost scored a goal.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with that. I forgot about that chance. That is the moment of the match. I believe so too.
Because that sets the tone for everything, and like for the season so far. Because now we're still tied with Porto. We steal a point, great. We beat them, even better. But if we go into the Dragão 2 points off of Porto, we've got a lot more pressure on us.
Yeah. And that goal would have been like 85th minute. So, God, that would have been a nightmare. Kenny, what was your moment, player?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it. Otamendi for me is what stood out the most in that game for me.
Mine is going to be. I'm surprised no one touched on it except Sergio. Mine was going to be Adi because I think it's for a goalkeeper for a smaller team. I find it, I guess, easier for them to react because they're constantly under pressure. Right, you're constantly engaged in the game. You're making saves. For a goalkeeper at one of the top teams where you maybe face 1 or 2 shots per game, like you have to be on, right? In that game, they had a header at the beginning of the first half, and then he basically was cooking marshmallows the whole game, right? Like, and then that one moment he needed to show up, he showed up huge. And like you guys said, he that play sets the tone for the rest of the game because if that goes in with 5 minutes and whatever extra time it's going, we're cooked. So. Moving on to the Festa da Taça de Portugal. Today, I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed seeing a game at the Reboleira, or Estádio José Gomes, as they officially call it. And I'm sure Sergio will remember more than me, or more than us, but I remember growing up, that place was packed. The stands are so close to the field. It's just,
there's a couple of iconic stadiums in Portugal from the 80s and 90s that you remember. You remember Reboleira. And the Reboleira, interesting fact, you can see it off of the line, the train line. So if you're coming in from Sintra into Rocio, like we do when we're in Portugal, you can actually see the stadium from the train. So you can see it. So it's one of those iconic stadiums, like the Faro Stadium as well is another iconic stadium, right? Very close, compact. The fans are on top of you. It was really classic. Zero safety protocols whatsoever. No seats.
Just cement.
Back then, it was just there was no seats. Now, obviously, you have to have seats.
Yeah,
it was just cement. Like a classic stadium. Classic stadium. It was good. For sure.
So Benfica comes away, and it was memorable for Jorge Jesus returns home. That's where he's from. That's where he started. There's a picture of him and Fernando Santos in the home dressing room for what they did with the club and being longtime fans. So it was good to return there. And I will say their field looked better now that they're not in the first division than it did when they were in the first division years ago, which I thought was interesting.
Not bad for a January, right?
I know. Yeah. Right? Seriously. Benfica started with Elton Late, Diogo Gonçalves, Todibo gets the start, or as Jay likes to call him, Tobido. Jardel, Nuno Tavares, Pedrinho, Samaris, Tarat, Chiquinho, Gonçalo Ramos, Seferovic. Oscar, I'll start with you. Chiquinho scores 2 goals. Diogo Gonçalves gets an assist. He should have had 2 assists if Seferovic didn't miss that sitter. Pedrinho gets 2 assists.
Just one sitter? One sitter?
Yeah. I was being nice.
Well, Lucas Waldschmidt missed.
Yeah, but he was offside, right?
I mean, that was pretty bad too. But thank God he was offsides on that.
I know, right?
Offsides. That's why he missed, right?
Yeah. Funny, all three grunts missed a sitter like that.
Yeah.
In these games, eh?
Yep.
And the last game, the Porto game. Who was it? Evan Nielsen. He missed a sitter like that
3 yards out.
Unreal.
It was so bad. I'll start with you, Kenny. What were your thoughts on today's game? A lot of changes in the team.
Thought you were starting with Oscar.
Oh, sorry, Oscar.
I bet.
Sorry, Oscar. What are your thoughts on the game? And my question to you is, I'll save that one for Jason. Pedrinho, I thought he looked fairly good today. He had a good assist for Waldschmidt's goal. He looked lively. He looked interested. He looked engaged. I still think he's a little bit light. Reminds me a lot of Di Maria. I've said it before. In his first phase of coming to Benfica, still needs to build a little bit of muscle. He gets kind of pushed off the ball fairly easily. So thoughts on the game, the performance, taking into consideration the various changes. I don't think there was no one in that except for Tarat. No one else in there is a regular starter. So quite a few changes. So thoughts on the game, the performance, and Pedrinho. Do you think
this game
he's worthy of taking Everton's spot?
Who? Chiquinho?
Pedrinho.
No. This is a game. This is a Estrela de Amadora. This is the 3rd division. Like we know they're gonna win. Even like I said, against the smaller teams like they played against in this cup game so far, I've used the players like this. I don't know why against the northern team that we played. I don't know when it was. We used some of our starters. To me, this is a team you play with in a game like this. Tavares, esquece. That guy was lost all over the field today. I don't know where this guy's coming from. That doesn't look like he picks up from game to game. He just gets lost. Chiquinho had a really quiet first half, and then second half he scored those 2 goals, I think he scored the first one in the first half. But he took advantage of those chances. Other than that, I didn't see much from him. I like Todibo. Todibo is, even though he still needs a lot to catch up on, like Jesus said in the press conference after, he still needs to get adapted to the players around him. But he showed a lot of confidence on the ball, which to me was surprising. I thought Jesus was probably going to break his neck because he kept going through being the last guy going through the front guys.
He's good on his feet.
He was good on his feet. Yeah, maybe that's what I mean. He's confident, which is impressive.
Okay, Oscar. I want to put this on the air. Ferro or well, I'm gonna fuck up his name.
Jean-Claire. Just call him Jean-Claire.
No.
Yeah, Jean-Claire.
You can't judge on one game against Estrela de Amadora, but I like.
But if they have to make a decision at the end, because we're picking up another center
right. But I liked what I saw from Todibo today, but I can't make a decision on that because I seen Ferro play a lot of games, some good, some bad, a lot bad, but only one game. I like Pedrinho a lot. This game was one of Pedrinho's, I think, finest games against Estrela de Amadora, so I'm not taking anything for he's a superstar. But I felt like he controlled. He was well in that position. He controlled the ball. He had good assists. He had a lot of ball on his feet compared to the other side. Our right side was basically the more active side all game. So, and Pedrinho was a big part of that. So Ramos, Kes, I don't know, Tank, you can send him back to B or C or 5th division. I don't give a shit what he's going to, but that guy, we had enough of that. I'm also on the same boat. I like to give these guys chances. But man, against Estrela de Amadora, you suck this bad? What many chances do you want to get?
He had a nice pass to Pedrinho.
I honestly, I know. I don't think he played that as bad as you're saying today. But
dude, I think Jesus wanted to kill him when he got up. And
I will say I'll agree with you with Nuno Tavares. He looked
and then
you didn't say that.
We need to record this moment, Jason.
Yeah, please.
Today I was like, what the hell is he doing?
And then Steph,
to
score 1, he misses 10. So Steph's issue has been like that for a while now. He's to score 1, he misses 10. And Diogo Gonçalves is average, decent. Jardel, average, decent, slow. The guy, Paulo Madeira, almost freaking it's like, zoom! Jardel next time.
Hey, he kept up with him. If that's Ferro or probably Vertonghen, the guy's looking at him in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, you know what? It reminded me of Paul Tomás, just going by the defenders, kick the ball and just.
Paul Tomás, shut up.
He killed him.
But that was my analysis of the game. We won. We should have won. We deserve to win. That's a game that I expected.
I like this, Christopher de Souza. Nuno não tem lugar no Benfica nem na equipa B. We've been saying this all along.
Yeah.
He does not. Maybe na equipa C. Maybe if there's one, he can go there.
Dude, every single time I saw Nuno up the field, all I saw was him running like this back, and the ball's already in the corner flag. I'm like, dude, you have no positioning skills at all in that field at all.
Look at this. Another. Mikey Tavares played awful. Mikey and Jay have been the biggest defenders of him, and both of them saying he played awful, and Mikey saying Otamendi's playing good. This is a memorable day here.
2021, new me.
Kenny, what do you want to add to that in terms of the game today? And my question for you is, Oscar started to touch on it, but Seferovic, I feel like with him, it's either all or nothing. He either scores everything he touches, or he needs 15 chances to score 1 goal. I mean, he had at least two today,
or more
in the first half. That the one that Chiquinho scores in the first half. I mean, the fact that he doesn't bury that and Chiquinho fortunately gets the rebound and scores it is just frustrating. But thoughts on that?
Yeah. So Seferovic, I feel like he always finds the goalie. Like he just every time he shoots it on net, the goalie's right there. So. I mean, that's just the player he is. We just come to expect that from him. Like you guys said, to score a goal, he needs like 5-6 way bad misses. So, but when he does score in crucial times. It gives us that spark. He plays he's one of those guys that does play with some heart, with some, intensity. So I do like that. I think, me personally, I think he's a better, like a super sub. I like when he comes in the second half. It's a good option to have. He does score goals, so he can always get that miracle goal when we need it. In terms of the game, I mean, it was kind of, we're so used to lately Benfica having big first halves and kind of bad second halves, and this was like they reversed the script, right? First half was a little slow, sluggish, and then all of a sudden the second half they turned it on. And one thing that they did do again this game that we just haven't been able to see this year is they were able to close the game. A lot of the other games that we've been playing, or the way they've been playing, they haven't closed the games when we needed it to get that second goal, to finish it off. Today, once they scored the second one, everything just opened up, and that's kind of the struggle, right? Once a 1-0 game is difficult for Benfica. I mean, difficult for most teams, but for Benfica this year, they've been awful. Once they score the second one and things open up, that's when, we see something like today. Again, it was against Estrela de Amadora, but still, I think if we can continue to see more of this, then we'll be in better shape in 2021.
Yeah, I think Estrela de Amadora just ran out of gas. I think they came out full throttle in the first half. Really impressive, right? They came close a couple times. Even the second half, they had a goal disallowed for offside. Mm-hmm. They were good for the first 60 minutes, and then they just ran out of gas. And that's a product of them being in the lower divisions, unfortunately, mm-hmm. versus one of the best teams in Portugal, right?
Absolutely.
It's got a lot of history.
I know. I think a club like them, with the history that they have, is worthy of the first division. It's unfortunately that what happened to them, but hopefully they'll get back up to it in the next couple of years. Jay, what were your thoughts on the game? And then my question for you is Todibo. What are your thoughts on him? Again, it's one game, but in fairness, I think it at least gives us an opportunity to see what he brings to the table. We said it at the beginning. All we had to go off of, I never watched the German league that frequently, but based on what I had read, what I had seen online, he has the profile of a David Luiz, who I know you're a fanatic of. Someone who likes the ball at their feet, someone who likes to come playing out of the back, someone who takes risks with the ball at his feet. Maybe not always the best decision for a center back to do, but he gives you the option of being able to kind of break that line of pressure with the ball at his feet instead of just huffing it down the field. So thoughts on Todibo and the game?
So you kind of nailed it. Like, I think Todibo.
Why is that so hard?
I don't know. But I feel like he could possibly be, like, you made a perfect comparison. I think David Luiz is probably like what he could aspire to be. He's like you said, he's good on his feet. I feel like he wanted to show a little bit today because he's been like, this was his first game of the season, so he wanted to like show off or try to make some plays that out of nothing. But you can see like even how he turns on like some plays. Like sometimes like our center backs will go back to the goalie, but he'll like turn and go right up the field, and like it's good to see that. And it looks like he has pace and everything. So it's like I saw a video, like you mentioned, like you see videos on him online. And it kind of resembles a like same type of style, but I don't know. Like it's tough because it's only one game and it's against the third division team. So it's like at the end of the day but he is like I was pretty impressed with him. I thought he played really well overall. And
Jay, let me ask you something.
He did make some risky passes that kind of burned him as well, but I thought he did pretty well.
Jay, let me ask you something. So you were saying he wanted to. It felt like he wanted to do more with the ball, but he was kind of like holding back. Do you think Jesus, and anyone can answer this really, but do you think Jesus is going to let him play the way he wants to play, or is he going to be? He's going to be what Jesus wants him to be, and that's why. And for me, I think that because he is that type of player, I don't think Jesus wants that in a center back.
Well, then I kind of say, what did just like? How many times did we see Jesus yell at David Luiz? And David Luiz, it's just how the player responds to the coach. At the end of the day, David Luiz took every time Jesus used to yell at him all the time because he would take risks. He would be like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like stuff like that. And it's just how the player responds. If you just come right back at it, that's it. That's how I look at it. For me, to be honest.
Okay. Oscar, you're an idiot. This kid's watching the stream on his phone, adding comments while he's on the stream. Let him
He wants us to talk about him.
I forgot to mention two guys. Samadi, first half quiet.
I was wondering why Oscar's laughing. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then
I saw his name pop up. I'm like, why is he commenting if he's on the dance?
I didn't want to interrupt. so
you just wait.
He just interrupted.
I forgot to say this, but Samadi's first half, you guys noticed he was very quiet. Once he turned it on second half and he started defending the way we know how he defends, the game completely turned. If he could turn it was all offense. It was we cut them, we closed them up really quick. But Adele was quiet the whole game.
Adele sucks, dude. I sometimes have to tell you guys that
he wasn't quiet. He was just bad. Every time the commentators mentioned Tarat, it was followed by "per the ball outra vez." It was just time after time. Adele, per the ball outra vez.
Yeah.
He's a lightning rod.
Mike, to be honest, I thought you were going to ask me a question about Tarat because I was supposed to be like, dude, that dude was complete garbage.
I would like to know his stats on how many.
He's definitely a lightning rod.
I honestly don't see what people I don't see what Jorge Jesus sees in that guy starting for Benfica. I'm glad he played today, the full 90, so hopefully he doesn't play on Friday.
I guess does anyone want to add anything to Kenny's question in regards to Todibo's style, and do we think JJ is going to allow it?
But hey, actually, do you guys agree with me? I thought Jorge Jesus used to yell at David Luiz all the time, and David Luiz kind of took it and kind of be like, all right, I got to do things better to stay on the team.
He did it.
My concern is he sees Todibo wanting to push forward with the ball. He's gonna adapt him to right back or left back or something that's his.
No.
I know, but that's his mentality. He's like, oh, this guy likes to go up. Let me try him out on the.
Yeah, he's gonna put him at left back against Porto.
He'll put him at Trinco. He'll be like, here, finally found a Trinco for us.
I think his style fits because JJ likes to build it up from the back, right? Because he pushes the outside backs high, and the Trinco drops in between the center backs, right? So you end up playing with a 3 at the back because the center back or the Trinco drops in, but. If you have a center back that's able to come out with the ball, maybe it frees up that 6, that Weigl, that Pizzi, that Gabriel to stay further up, right? And the team stays a little bit higher instead of having to have that guy constantly drop in to play that ball out of the back. And then you still have the threat of playing the long ball with, Todibo playing it or Vertonghen can play it, Otamendi can play it. So I think it gives you a little bit of a different approach because
I don't think he has a future at the club, to be honest with you.
That's fair too.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you've got Otamendi, you've got Vertonghen, you've got Jardel, who probably this year will be his last year, but Jardel. And then you've got Lucas Verissimo coming in, right? Yep. So you got 4 guys, and then you got Ferro and him. Both of them are going to be odd men's out, right? Mm-hmm. So unless he's planning on playing 3 in the back, I don't know. It's hard for me to this was his first game that he was even called up for.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he's been hurt, and then
he's been hurt, and then he adaptation issues and COVID.
And it's only a loan too.
And that's why I brought up the Ferro versus Todibo or the Frenchie question up. Which one would you pick? Because I feel like it's going to be decided between one of those two.
Well, Ferro will get loaned out. I think
it's either Ferro leaves and he stays, or until the end of the year, or it's one or the other.
Ferro's the older of the two.
We get rid of both of them and get Cardozo from Santa Clara.
Oh, stop, dude! Stop.
I feel like Todibo's gonna. He's gonna.
Dude, he balled out.
I don't think Cardozo is coming to Benfica because he wants to play. I don't think he's gonna sit in the bench.
I'm gonna ask you.
He would have a good shot to start though. He's been playing pretty good.
I don't know.
But I'm gonna ask you guys. Apart from watching Santa Clara against Benfica and maybe Sporting and Porto, how many games does anyone watch of Santa Clara? None.
I don't.
Right?
No.
This same this same Cardoso is the guy that's made mistake after mistake against Benfica in years past, and people with their conspiracy theories, a la Oscar, jogador do Benfica, foi expulso por causa jogador do Benfica, and this and that, right? Yes, he played a hell of a game. Yes, he scored a goal, but is he a player to come into Benfica and start?
I don't think so. I look at Steven Vittoria. Steven Vittoria was a perfect example.
Yep.
The guy had an amazing year with Estrela. Even fucking scored a goal against us.
Yep.
And then he comes to play for us.
Terrible.
And what comical. He got expulsed in one game. I guess was it against Porto, I think? Yeah, like the guy was a joke for Benfica.
Fellow Canadian too.
But for every Steven Vittoria, Porto does pretty much gets players that play good against them, and they end up panning out. Look at Pep. Pep came from like Maritimo or whatever the hell he came from. Merega came from Vitória Guimarães. Like they pick up players that do good against players, and they pan out. But I feel like that's where we struggle. We get Chiquinho. Like
I was just gonna say Chiquinho.
we get those type of players, and we look at it like we can't do that. That's why we go to Brazil and.
We just got Rodrigo Pinho.
Yeah. Hopefully he scored against all three. Let's see if that happens. He looks like a big body too, so it's hopefully who knows.
So since you guys already answered the question I was going to ask Sergio, I'll ask him another question. Fortunately, I had a bonus question here. So thoughts on today's game and Chiquinho. He's been a point of discussion. He did well at Moreirense. Benfica went and got him back after we got rid of him. I'm not a fan of him. Interesting enough, Judge Jesus played him out on the left today, which was interesting to see. I thought he played well. He scored 2 goals. I thought he was very much involved.
But he was absent up to that point, though, right? Up until that point, everything was running through Diogo Gonçalves and was it Pedrinho on the right, and Nuno Tavares and Chiquinho were like absent. You didn't see them for the first 40 minutes until all of a sudden Chiquinho scored the goal, and I realized, holy shit, this guy just came out of the blue and scored. Like he had, of all the players who didn't deserve to score, it was him because he happened to be in the right spot. After I think was it Seferovic that had
the guy
so he collected the rebound and smashed it in. So I mean, he had a good game in the second half. I think eventually they all adapted and they started circling the ball around, and he definitely had a better match in the second half. He's a weird guy because is he going to play deep in the middle? Is he going to be on the wing? Is he going to be up front with as a secondary forward? I don't know what his role is. I really don't in this squad. I mean,
he played as a second forward or right behind the forward,
and he scored a bunch of goals for them. Right, so he's like a Pizzi almost, where
poor man's Pizzi.
Yeah, exactly. He's a Benfica's Pizzi because we had to pay $8 million. He was our player. We sold him some Moreirense, and then we have to pay $8 million to get him back. I don't get it. But anyways, so he's a Pizzi where we're adapting him to the number 8 to the left, as a false 9 or behind the number 9. Like he's trying to adapt him into that role. I don't know. I mean,
he's a good utility player, is why I see him.
Honestly,
we don't see those $8 million back. I'll tell you.
I'm holding out hope that we're going to get 1 or 2 Brazilians from Flamengo. I don't know. I think it's a long shot. I don't think we're going to get Bruno Henrique and Gerson, but I'd love to see them in our squad. And then players like Chiquinho and these minor players, they can go, and Servi. No offense. They can go off to MLS.
Hey, are we going to talk about the transfer at all today or no?
Yeah. What did you want to ask?
Is all these rumors true? Are we really going to get William or no? What do you guys think?
I've seen both. I've seen Benfica is going to get him on loan with the requirement to buy. I've then also seen that Benfica has said that it's not going to happen. At this point, I don't even know what to believe. It's January. Portuguese newspapers love to stir up a story.
I've heard 2 sides, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know which one to believe anymore. It's just like, is he coming or is he not? Would you guys want him here?
I was just going to ask that. Would you guys
I take him.
100%. I don't give a shit. Listen, I don't give a shit about his previous alignment. And if it pisses them off even more, even better. If it affects them out even more, even better.
I would just be like, hey, dude, remember those fans that bombarded your locker room, dude? Just be like, come to the red SWAT. Come to the red team. We'll take care of you over here.
I'll ask you guys this question before we get into the Porto game. There's been rumors over the course of the last couple of days. Enzo Perez at River Plate, who is currently beating Palmeiras 2-0. Aggregate was 3-0. There's 10 minutes left, so they might pull this off. And he's starting. Enzo Perez, 34 years old, former Benfica player, as we all know. There's rumors that he was supposed to go to Turkey, but now there's rumors that he may his flight might not make it to Turkey, and he might stop short in Portugal somewhere. If you guys had the option to get William, whether it's loan with the requirement to buy, or you had the option, and the price tag is likely going to be 20 million, 15 million, most likely with bonuses and add-ons, but 20 million, or have the option to bring in an Enzo Perez this month for a year and a half deal for, I don't know, probably less than 5 million at this point, if that. What would you guys take?
Both. Bring them both.
Come on, you.
Why not?
It'd be a waste. Then you got Samaris, you got Weigl, you got Gabriel. You
can definitely clean house off of that. You can clean house.
I wouldn't bring in Enzo. He left on a sour note, and we already have problems to begin with. I think you're asking for trouble by bringing that guy in, because he practically asked himself out of his club. So,
but he also he idolized JJ for what he did with him as a player. Converted him. He said he's never had a coach like him. Converted him to a different type of player than he was when he got to Benfica. Kenny, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say I think it comes down to who leaves the squad, right? If Weigl is leaving, then I want William. I think that's a bigger need. The other thing I would say is it's very rare that a player returns back, like Benfica, especially, like that a player that's played for Benfica returns back to Benfica at the age of 34. We don't do that type of business. So,
we used to, not anymore.
It's been a while since that's happened.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, to me, I love Enzo. Enzo to me was that midfield with Enzo when we had Enzo Matic, and dude, it was amazing. It was like awesome to see. When they went to the final, they played Juventus, dude, unbelievable. Enzo is like is a workhorse. But let me tell you,
34.
That's what I mean. We have a guy that's going to play for a year and a half, and then done, right? Yeah. Or we have William, where we can get a return on him. Even if we pay the 15 million plus whatever bonuses it is, we can still, Arsenal can come have, if he has a good offense, Arsenal will come pay 30 million for him, because Arsenal will take anybody that's good.
Why are you talking about Arsenal, dude? Don't talk about Arsenal.
We can see the Henry jersey behind you, dude.
Just think of it this way. If you buy a William, Sporting gets 25% of that transfer. So how good would it be to win the title and then cut a check to Sporting to say thank you for the player that helped beat you for the title again? How great would that be?
That's actually a great thought right there.
My first jersey for Benfica this year would be a William jersey, just so I can just it would be like William Carvalho. I spelled all his full name, William Carvalho.
You should send that to Paul.
Yeah, that's what I do.
You're saying or something like, here you go, buddy.
Yeah, but smart business, even if it's more expensive, is getting William, because we get a return on him 2 years down the road. Enzo is a guy that comes. Whatever money we waste on Enzo, it's wasted, because we're not going to get much back. We're not going to get anything back after. So yeah, do we need him now and to fight for the Campeonato? Yeah, we do. But William will do the same exact thing, and we still have a return.
So I also say this. So if you go out and buy William, then you're gonna have people be like, "Oh, like we're gonna spend more money, this and that," or like Mike was trying to say, we probably get him on like a free transfer. Will we get Enzo on a free transfer or something like that?
No, we get rid of Tarat. Get rid of Tarat. Get like
where's the market for Tarat?
Yeah, where are you gonna go?
China?
Who wants
Arsenal?
No, stop talking about
I thought Enzo. I saw something float around for like 2.9 million for Enzo.
So then you gotta have to be like then Benfica DSL probably looks at it and be like, who are we gonna be like? Who are we gonna make happy? The people that are gonna be bitching about us spending another 20 million or just spending a little 3 million right now. So you got kind of it's the decision that you have to make. But
the problem, Tank, is it's not only that 20 million you were spending.
I think they probably go. I'm just saying that I think they probably go Enzo because they already spent the 80.
No, not only that, Tank. It's the salary that William does not want to reduce. He's making a good money and right now, and I don't think Benfica can afford a salary like his.
So it's even more money.
Yeah, that's the problem. Because if it was only the 15 to 20 million, I think the Benfica would have taken it right away. It's the salary because they're asking William to reduce it.
Oh, William's 28, I think.
Yeah, William's 28.
He played on the under 23 or under 21 squad with Bernardo Silva. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, I think he's 27, 28.
Yeah.
For me, I think Samadi's I think his days are numbered. He's making a ton of money. I think it's time to drop his contract.
But he's one of the voices. That's the thing. He's one of the voices in the locker room.
But at the end of the day,
I don't know about that. I've heard other things about him.
Oh, I want to hear that.
I think there's things there. I can't. This is being recorded for the internet forever, so I'm not going to go there. But you'd be surprised if you talk to some people in the inside. I don't claim to know people in the inside, but I've heard stories. I've heard stories that it's not all he's seen with Samadi. So I just I don't think I think we got to let go of him. He's one of those players where yes, he breeds Mística Benfiquista, but I think it's time to let him go because I think we've kind of squeezed that lemon, right? Like I don't think we're going to be able to get any more juice out of that guy.
I totally 100% agree with you. Absolutely agree. And I think
love the guy. He's got a fucking good attitude. He's like we need that attitude installed in every single one of those players, right? But I think he's done. Yeah, guys, sorry.
If you watch the game,
I've been done with somebody's since 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, you were done with PZ 2 3 years ago. Right?
I was. I definitely was done with PZ 2 or 3 years ago. You could have made some money off of PZ 2 or 3 years ago.
No, all I'm saying is what I saw from Samaris today, we don't see any other player other than Otamendi.
Yeah, I agree. But Gara doesn't win you games, unfortunately.
Oh, but sometimes it gets under the other players' skins, and that's what makes us win. I'm telling you, like getting people Gara like that, getting on your face all the time, like Porto players do.
Oh yeah,
it makes you win games.
I've preached it before. Yeah, I don't think you're playing with 10 men when you're playing with somebody. Sometimes that's the problem.
Oh, today, second half, we're playing 10 men because Tondela was in the field.
That's true.
Before we get into the Porto game, what was your MVP, player of the game, decision of the game? Sergio, I'll start with you.
MVP was probably Pedrinho, just because he really did show a different side of him. Coming into this season, I was writing him off. Like another fucking $20 million spent on a winger when we need a lateral direito. I was comparing him to Kyle Lucas, but he's really proven over the last couple of months that there is hope with this guy, right? He's a suitable substitute for Everton or Rafa coming off the bench. And today, especially that play of the match, for me, play of the match was his nice little assist to Luka Walsh, right? Yeah. So I think he was definitely for me the player of the match.
Kenny?
Yeah, I'd have to say Pedrinho as well. He stood out in this game. I think, we talked about Everton last time. I feel like Everton, and I've seen this in the comments before, but he kind of lacks that Brazilian flair, and I think Pedrinho has a little bit more flair than Everton. Everton slows down the game. He doesn't have that breakaway speed, or we really haven't seen it that much. Everton almost feels like a one-trick pony. Like he has that. He can just cut in and attack the net that way. He's not good on crossing the ball. He doesn't attack the wing. Pedrinho, I feel like, has a little bit more speed, flair to him, and he kind of showed it in this game. And when he typically comes in, he performs for the most part. So yeah, I think Pedrinho stood out this game.
Okay.
Me? I would say Pedrinho as well, but Chiquinho deserves some recognition as well with the 2 goals. Seferovic scored a goal, but he pissed me off so much during the game that I just can't believe that guy misses so many opportunities, dude. But Pedrinho overall, I thought he played well. He started off the game really well by making that cut in the middle and then laying the ball off to Gonzalo Ramos where it got blocked. I think he started off the game and kind of started Benfica's pace, and we ended up with a W because of him.
Sure.
Samaris.
I think the MVP of today's game was Nuno Tavares. No. If Samaris played the whole game like the second half, it would have been Samaris. But Pedrinho was more of a full, so I give it to Pedrinho too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. If you had told me I was gonna say this a month ago, I would have told you you're crazy. But Chiquinho. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think he did enough. I know Pedrinho was good as well, but I think he deserves a shout as well. So, and he cleaned up the mess that Seferovic left in that first goal. That he didn't manage to and Chiquinho almost messed it up too with his second touch.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Almost lost it.
I thought he was going to fall on the ball.
Yeah, I thought he was going to send it out on the street somewhere because that stadium's not very high. All right. Now let's move on to.
I just want to say one thing. Isn't it great to beat a team that has a player called Sergio Conceição?
Yeah.
I did hear his name a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be the first of 2 wins against the Sergio Conceição.
Yeah, it'll be a bad week for the Conceição family.
I don't think it's related, but yeah, for sure.
What scares me, the way that Porto's been getting games, that scares me.
No.
I don't think it's a son. No.
I thought his 2 sons played. He has 3 sons. I thought they all played on Porto. Now
it's the son he doesn't know about.
I could be wrong. It might be. I don't know. Maybe it is.
It's him.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Oh, fucking awesome.
He's 24 years old. Plays for Estrela de Amadora.
Oh, wow.
Good. Even better. We beat Sergio Conceição's son. Now we got to beat the dad.
Now we got to beat the dad.
Dude, Conceição got 4 boys. Good. 4
Oh, it's 4.
Well, they always they had one son per Grand. They had one at the Porto Academy. They had one at Sporting, and they had one at Benfica. From what I remember.
The Benfica one went.
Benfica one went to Porto because we let him go. So
that's the one that wanted to fight the player. Last game.
The ref.
He was boys with João Felix.
Yeah. So Friday, Porto Benfica, Portuguese League. We are 4 points off the top, level on points with Porto. Sporting is 4 points ahead of us. Sporting plays before us on Friday. And then we play at 4 o'clock Eastern. 31 points. Benfica's got 28 goals scored, 13 conceded. Porto has 35 goals scored, 16 conceded. So they have 7 more goals scored, but 3 goals more conceded. We've lost to them in the last 4 across all competitions. Kenny, I'll start with you. What are your
yes?
How are you feeling about this game going into it? Given how we've been playing, I know that it hasn't been beautiful, but I'm looking at Porto hasn't lost the game since Paço Ferreira, right? So they've rattled off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 wins, 1 draw, and today they drew in 90 minutes and won in overtime. I don't want to go into that game, but it caused me a lot of stress today. And Benfica, on the other hand, other than losing to Porto in the Supertaça, we hadn't lost until since the Braga game. We won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, drew 3, and drew the game against Guimarães in the Taça and then won in penalties. So while it might not seem like we're doing good, right, we're getting results for the most part. So how are you feeling going into this game on Friday?
All right. So I don't know. I want to be optimistic. And every time there's, just like the last time we previewed the Porto Benfica game, I was optimistic. This time around, I think I'm going to go like that reverse psychology thing. I think we're going to struggle. I think we're going to we're gonna go in and start the game slow again. Are we giving predictions yet? Do you want predictions or no?
Nope,
Just thoughts.
Hold off on the prediction.
Yeah, dude, I have no confidence. I don't see it. Like we just don't come to play against Porto, and it's I think we're gonna see a lot of like we saw in the not this last game, but not these last two games, but in previously. It's just gonna be I think an ugly and stressful game, the whole 90 minutes.
Okay, Sergio.
If you look at the recent history, nothing gives you confidence, right? Especially day before Christmas or 2 days before Christmas, that match. I mean, how many shots did we even get on goal?
Two.
Best player happened to be an ex-Porto player, so it tells you a lot. So there's no confidence whatsoever. However, it's a Classico game, so throw that out the previous records and your recent form goes out the window when you're playing a Sporting or Benfica or Porto, depending on who you are. If Benfica can approach the game like JJ approached the game when they won 2-0 with 2 Lima goals, it is possible. It is possible to steal the 3 points. I don't think we're going to lose. I really don't, because Porto to me doesn't seem like a team right now that's clicking and is scoring on all cylinders. Today they struggled against Nacional. They've struggled recently against the Tondelas of the world, right? So, even against Benfica, did you feel that they completely dominated us? No, none whatsoever. Right?
We talked about it on the podcast. I thought that was probably the worst Classico that we've seen in a long time on both sides.
And I tell you, another thing that they're missing is the fans. We're going to be playing closed doors. The fans are intimidating. Going to the Dragão is an intimidating atmosphere. So that sometimes gets on the players. You take that away, and instantly you've kind of leveled the playing field. So I wouldn't discount a draw. I mean, am I confident that we're going to win? No, probably not, given recent history. But, I wouldn't write us off completely, because when it comes to a Classico, it's a different game completely. And I think they will have learned from the match in December that they've got to approach the game in a different way. They see what Porto is. I kind of look at it in the same way that happened a couple of years ago with Brunelage. They went to the Taça de Liga. They knew they could play against them man-to-man. They lost that game, controversially, right? Controversially, I will add. VAR, right? So they lost that game, and then a month later or 2 months later, they show up and they win 2-1. Now, you have João Felix, who's a world beater now, but still, that's, to me, I kind of look back at that and say, okay, well, they see the Porto team and they know that they can level up against them. I don't think a win or a draw is out of the cards for this team, even though recent history suggests that we're probably going to be behind the 8 ball going into the Dragão.
Jason? So
I agree with everyone with what everyone's saying, with zero confidence going to the game. Like everyone says, past history, even how we played and how we've been playing even the games after we played Porto, it's not really encouraging to this match. But going to the Classico, it's like what Sergio said. That's all gets thrown out the window. And to be honest, I think this game, it's like the do or die for this season. I feel like, I know it's just still early, but if we get a result and we start turning things, like we get a result, I think that just gives the Benfica team so much confidence and to move forward and be like, dude, we definitely could do it. Let's just go at it and let's change our mindsets a little bit. Like, I feel like this game means so much. It could either, if we don't get the result, I don't think we're winning nothing, to be honest.
I agree. I think
our confidence would just go to shit, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think we need to get at least a point here, because if we lose, I think it's just a huge psychological blow. Losing them twice in a short time span.
We need a result. We definitely need a result, and I kind of agree with Sergio saying that we did seeing them play in December is going to help us going into this game. And if we could just fix because that game was so bad to say. I thought we played like shit. I don't think we played anything better spectacular either. But it was hopefully that it's a better soccer game for us to watch. And Benfica turns out on top, hopefully.
So far, we got a bunch of ties. Anyone want to lighten the mood?
I haven't given my prediction yet.
Just to jump on Manny's comment here before I go to Oscar. I think the Porto game, and we saw it against them in December, Porto is a team that today is built to play better without the ball. Porto is set up to absorb and then hit you kind of in transition, where Benfica, on the other hand, is terrible without the ball, right? Defensively, when we don't have the ball and we have to do defensive transitions and we have to sit deep and absorb some pressure, the team is like a wet paper bag. They just completely fall apart. And I think we saw that against Porto the first time is Benfica had most of the ball. We could have created chances in the first 10 minutes and we didn't take them. And then Porto hit us in transition, and then that was it, right? Then they just sit back and just wait for us. So I think it'll be similar to that, but I just wanted to touch on that comment from Manny. Oscar, what are your – I left you for last because I know you're the pessimist or the realist, if you like to call it, so I want to hear your thoughts.
This is how I think about it, right? We have Benfica, who, like we've talked about in the previous podcast, none of them, those players other than 2 or 3, they know what the Mística Benfiquista is. They don't know what is to play for Benfica. They're just new guys that came into the game. They have no fans so far in the season. So they're still they don't know. They see a team like Porto. All those players like Porto's base is all there from last year. They inserted one guy here and there. Everybody else is still there, right? And those guys play, like you said, they play better off the ball because it's all about the garra. Those guys eat you alive, right? And it looks like Benfica's players get intimidated by that, and they get in a hole and they don't know what to do with the ball. They figure out how to play, and that's what scares me. Benfica's been creating chances last few games. It's creating chances, and they'll have him. And the way this season is going is, in my personal opinion, when Benfica goes up, Porto gets a penalty kick. That's my personal opinion, right? Because that's what I've been seeing lately with Porto. Every time they struggle, there's somebody over there. Even the VAR doesn't see it. No vejo nada. So let's keep going, right? So to me, it's going to be a struggle, absolutely a struggle. If we get away with a tie, I'll be happy.
Me too.
Fair. Okay. Let's go to the starting 11. What we expect before we go to the predictions. So goalie, I think Odysseas obviously comes back in. The back four, I think it picks itself. Gris, Otamendi, Vertonghen, and Gilberto. Everyone agree with that?
Gilberto?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You went the other way. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
In the middle, I think, is where we have the questions here. I think
Weigl in an empty spot.
I think Weigl starts. You guys all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think Gabriel starts.
Weigl Peasy, dude. Play Peasy there.
You can't.
So do you
guys
guys
away, dude?
Tell you.
So here's the, I guess, let's go to the outsides before we go to that middle spot. Everton, Rafa, outside.
I have Everton, Rafa. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Jay,
If Everton doesn't start, then I think everyone's gonna have a shit because he's played in every single fucking match this year, and then he gets dropped for the most important match. He
didn't play today because he's playing.
I fucking hope.
It's like giving Todibo the captain's armband today. Say, here you go, toma lá.
I hope he starts and he scores a hat trick. Be like, thank you. Oh my god, that would be so awesome.
All right, so we're gonna leave that. So I guess we got the 2 outside midfielders. Now let's go back to the middle. We've talked about it before. A midfield 2 against some of the stronger teams is playing with fire. Sergio, I'll start with you. Do you play with a midfield 2? Obviously, we've put Weigl there. Do we put someone else or 2 more midfielders in there, or you think he's going to go with one guy and play midfield 2 again?
I think he's gonna have 2. I hate to say it, but I don't think Pizzi's going to come in. I think it's going to be a Delta Rap with Weigl. And then Seferovic is going to link up with Darwin up front. He's been open about his love for Seferovic, and he thinks that Seferovic is a better player to link up and create plays with Darwin. So I think Seferovic will start. And you'll have Pizzi coming in the second half with Welshmead. I think he's going to play it safe, and I think Adel Tarap will come in. Will start the game alongside Weigl.
Throwing a curveball in there. Jason almost had an aneurysm when you said that.
I mean, do I agree with it? Do I think Welshmead's a better player? I personally believe
No,
it.
to be honest, like, I do. I don't want him there, but I feel like George Jesus is going to probably pick him too.
Stefanovic will play. Because Stefanovic has the experience of playing against Porto in these matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing the last couple of matches, been playing well with Darwin, so he's going to keep that link up. He's going to keep that partnership going against Porto for sure. Luka Waldschmidt's been playing well coming off the bench, so I think with him and Pizzi coming off the bench in the second half, those are your X factors in the second half against Porto. If you've got a result so far, if you've got a 0-0 tie or 1-1 tie, does he push for the win with them? Probably.
I like the idea of the X factor because I think if you put them two in the starting 11, apart from Seth, I don't think Tarat's an X factor coming in off the bench.
No.
So,
Exactly.
Jay, I'll go to you since you were distressed with the PZ on the bench idea. So,
Like,
does he go three?
I kind of wish, obviously I have what I want. If I was the coach, I'd probably play with a 4-3-3 in this game, but I doubt he is. So if I would have to pick, I think he goes with Weigl. Personally, I think he does go with Weigl Tarab, but I want Weigl Pizzi there. And I think he does Luka Darwin up front.
So you do think that he puts Pizzi on the bench?
No, Pizzi. I think Pizzi. Well, if Pizzi's not starting with Tarab in the midfield, then I think Luka's in the bench and Pizzi plays behind the striker.
I think the fact that Pizzi doesn't even get called up today is telling that for me he starts. That's my opinion.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I would want him to play in the 8 spot, but I think if he's not there and Tarab's there, then Lucas is going to play. Lucas is going to go on the bench and he plays behind Darwin.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar?
What I want and what he's going to do is totally different.
Yeah.
The back line is perfect. I have our midfield as a 3, meaning like a PZ up behind Darwin, right? And then changing with Rafa, basically both of those guys. So PZ and Rafa interswitching. But I have somebody's underneath behind Weigl.
I knew it.
I think that gives us a little bit more. So you have a midfield too with Samaris and Weigl, and then
PZ ahead of them to create the number 10 spot with Rafa changing with the PZ, like kind of changing back and forth between those two guys. And I have Everton on the other side with Darwin. And then with Everton, dude, knowing Jesus and knowing that Chiquinho scored 2 goals today, you might come out early and Chiquinho in.
I think what you're saying is Samaris and Pepe are going to get into a fight. Both get sent off, and the game is going to finish with 10 each.
Hey, by the way, who loses on that? Porto loses.
That's true.
Yes,
that's definitely true.
Speaking of Pep, he played 120 minutes today, so he's no spring chicken.
I hope he's fucking tired as hell, dude.
Let's see how that pans out. Kenny, what are your thoughts on that midfield?
So I actually like Oscar's idea, but I think he's gonna play Weigl, Pizzi in the middle, and then Seth and Darwin up top. That's
dangerous. Move that again. Holy shit! It's so much forward. That's attack.
I think he's going to. I like Oscar's idea. I think it gives us a little bit more steel in the midfield. I think he's going to play with Weigl, Tarap, and Pizzi behind Darwin. Just because it gives us the legs in the midfield, right? Tarap will just run around like an asshole, even though he doesn't always do the right thing, but he runs around, right? He'll get stuck in, even though he doesn't do it at the right times. Weigl will give us that out from the back, that consistency, that safe pass out from the back, and Pizzi can drop in between lines, and he can alternate with Rafa out wide. That's what I think he's going to do. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if he all of a sudden puts Samaris and Weigl in there, and who haven't really played in that system with him, right? Just to kind of lock up the midfield. You just don't know with JJ, right? That's the thing. Is you always try to pull a rabbit out of a hat, try to surprise everyone. Predictions.
Did play David Luiz on the wing, right?
Exactly. And we got
No, we took 5. So
That was a bad day to be a fan of David Luiz. Let me tell
oh
you.
my god, that was a nightmare. Hulk fucking had him in his pocket.
I think King was in goalie. I think it was King. Dude, the shots were going in from every single direction, man. He was Hulk was putting him upper 90. Falcon was scoring headers, diving bicycle kicks. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Everything was in.
Dude, that Porto team was pretty nasty too.
So they were stacked.
They were
That team
pretty
was
good.
yeah.
Predictions. Oscar, I'll start with you because your name's first here.
All right. I think we get away from Porto with a 1-1 tie.
Okay. Jay?
That's going to be a theme.
I am going to predict a W, 2-1.
You just changed your mind.
We don't have Joao.
You just changed your mind.
And-
You're going to
and
go 1-1.
No, and I think Darwin scores the game winner.
But you guys can support the clown. He doesn't shoot.
He scores the game winner and he goes fucking ballistic.
Oh yeah, the fans might come in the field.
That's why he goes ballistic. Fuck him.
Kenny?
I'm going to go 1-1 tie. And I'm going to say Otamendi scores.
Ooh.
Dude.
I said it last time.
man.
Now I'm going to stick to it this time.
Dude, if Otamendi scores, that should be like double.
If Otamendi scores, him and Pep are fighting.
Yeah,
Okay.
seriously.
I do want to see those two match up on corner kicks and set pieces in the box. That'll be a good battle.
Mhm.
But I think Pep wins.
We'll see. We'll find out.
We'll-
Tiago says 2-1 for Porto.
Yeah,
Luis Diaz.
He's a Portista.
2-0, Mikey says. Christopher says if Benfica doesn't win, he's shaving his chest.
We got to see receipts on this.
Yes, we
Yeah,
before
we-
and after.
Yeah, yeah. Send us before or after. Sergio, what's your prediction?
My heart says 2-1 Benfica. My head says 0-0 tie.
Well,
Ooh.
if this
I think
game
it's. I think it's. I can see it going both ways. I can see it being a shitty game where both teams are too nervous because they're both going into the game 4 points back from Sporting, right? They're both are going to be on the edge because if either one of them loses, it can be potentially 7 points back of Sporting.
yeah.
So
If Sporting wins, which they won't.
That's why I keep saying
something
that
that.
this game is so big, it's so important.
That's
This
why,
game-
right? So
This
I
game
mean, Porto they come back from 7 points down last year. I don't know if that's going to become a habit in this league. So I think it's probably going to be a tie, 0-0, but I really do want us to win 2-1. I really do. So and Seferovic will probably score because he's one of those players where he's hot and cold. I mean, remember this guy scored 3 goals against the Netherlands in a Nations League match out of the blue, out of his ass. Like he does shit like that, and then he has games where he misses 5 sitters. Like you can't read this guy.
Quick question, Sergio. Do you think we'll create 7 chances?
No, absolutely not.
Then he's not going to score.
He did score the 1-0 winner against Porto at the Luz 2 years ago. So when he does take chances, hopefully he takes it.
That's when he was good, when he played with Joao. Yeah, he was scoring left and right. But
I don't even think he was playing with João that game. I don't think João was even a feature with Rui Vitória at the time. I know João was coming off the bench, but I don't even think he was starting with them.
I think he scored.
He just fluked it. I think he just fluked it against them. I mean, we were playing home, but
João first goal, I think it was against Sporting.
But he came off the bench. It was like in the 80th something minute. But he wasn't a regular feature until Bruno Lage started really playing.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
I don't know who played with Seth, but Seth wasn't he our 4th striker in that time with Rui Vitória behind Jimenez and Lehman
and João.
What year?
Lage took over.
When Lage took over, it was when Lage took over, he brought Jean Felix straight away against.
Right, but I'm talking about before that when Rui Vitória was there. They had to use it for 3 years or 2 years.
Jonas was there.
Yeah, Jonas
and Jimenez and
Jonas.
No,
left
I don't
with,
think Jimenez was there. I think he was loaned out.
I think he was gone.
Dude, we played. Jimenez played against Bayern with the Rui Vitorios on the one week.
No, but that wasn't the match. That wasn't the year.
That was the
This
year
was the year that
before that.
Rui Vitoria won his first Gran game. That
Was it
was that
Mitro?
match.
No.
And then he got fired a couple months later. So who was it?
Last year, 2017, 2018?
It was the year that we won with 18-19, I think.
I remember that game. Josef scored the only goal. Yeah, I remember that. But I don't know what year it was.
It was 18-19.
Do you guys,
18-19, we had...
did you guys do your research? Do you guys think that we'll finally get our first PK?
Yeah, right. We had
No chance.
Joseph, Salvio.
Savio's still in the squad? No shit.
Yeah, we didn't have many strikers that year.
Dude, we had Lemma playing our center back.
Yeah.
In that
Because
game,
Conte had been sent off the game before.
Bullshit red card.
Yeah, right? So
No.
that was the
Yeah.
game where we were sweating bullets like, fuck, we're going to play against Porto and we have Lema playing his first match for Benfica. It's like, what the fuck? Right?
The season changes that on Friday, man. We're gonna win this game. I feel it.
I'm gonna say. I think the game against Porto before Christmas, I think, will be a learning experience for this team. And I pray that the headlines in the newspapers from Sergio Conceição with this interview is fucking posted all over that locker room. The bullshit of him calling JJ and saying, I expected more from my rivals. I expected them to be more lively. Just shit like that. Like, I hope that shit is posted all over the locker room. Like, if that shit doesn't fucking get you fired up, like, then nothing will. And
yeah, but you have to put it in 5 different languages in the locker room. Translation.
I'm sure there's a translator of Benfica that could do it for them. Go to Google.
You worry about the small things.
But it's different. We speak 5 different languages in a locker room. They all speak one language. It's anti-Benfica, right? We'll get up for this game because they're speaking all the same language, and it's anti-Benfica.
Yeah, but their language is let's eat them alive. That's their language. I hate them. I wish our language was like that too.
So much. This game means so much.
All right, so I'm gonna say 2-1.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say Porto scores on a penalty. Another one.
I hope we left goals in the bank because scoring 4 today. I hope we still have some in reserve.
Hey, dude, Darwin didn't score, dude. He's ready. He's gonna be ready to rumble.
I hope so.
Darwin needs to learn how to fucking run with the ball without losing.
Doesn't take his chances.
He needs to go down a size on his shoes or something.
All right. Before we sign off, I'm gonna play this name out of the bucket hat again. We haven't played it in a while, and since we got Sergio, who's a little bit older than us, and will remember some of these names. So I picked 2 names out of the bucket, and you tell me who you would prefer to have on your team. Not based on
Pringle.
Pringle. Holy shit. He wore that jersey.
Clown shoes. That guy had the biggest clown shoes of them all. Eh?
That was a nightmare. So I'll pick 2. We'll do a couple rounds.
Hey, Wade. Hi, buddy.
All right. First one is Manish.
Which one?
What he's done in
the 80s one or
Manish, the 80s one.
Yeah, we had the Danish Manish. That's what the Portuguese one is.
We did.
He is a real Benfica legend, not this fucking schlup that goes to Canal 11. He thinks he's half drunk. Not the Portuguese one. I'm sorry, no. He's not a Benfica. Manish, the Danish Manish, who he's based on. His name is from that guy.
Dude, I swear to God, you can't make this up. So Manish was the first one. Look at the second name that just came out. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Martin Pringle.
Who is it?
I have no idea what that says.
Oh.
Martin Pringle.
Holy shit. I thought he tipped over.
Martin Pringle, caralho. I'll tell you.
Chances of that?
Guy, go play the fucking lotto tonight. Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you right now, it's the shirt that I'm wearing. It's the shirt that I'm wearing.
Wait,
I don't know him and Manish. He's a Batista. Fuck him.
Is there a basketball game or something on?
I don't know. I should be betting today.
I know.
What was
the winner right now.
What's that?
What was your result on Friday?
0-0.
0-0.
Come on, man. Come on. Give us a win. goddamn.
I said, listen, I said 0-0 in my head.
That's all
But
I'm at.
2-1 in my heart. So I'm going to go with my heart. 2-1 for sure.
Fuck.
All right. Next name, Eldred.
Wait, we didn't vote on that one.
Ooh.
Oh, all right. Who do you guys want? Oscar.
Manish.
If you're basing it on skill, sure. I mean,
Basing it on-
Martin Weigl couldn't score
I'm
even
going-
against
I'm going-
Estrela de Amadora today. So,
I'm going with my niche too.
yeah.
All right. Everyone's going Manish.
Halder,
So
I
is
met
this
in
like
person.
overall career or
Over
just
the
Benfica
career.
career?
This is overall career, not just what they did
all
at
right.
Benfica.
Yeah.
So Eldred or Argel. That's a good one.
Elder. Just because he gave the fucking Lagartus.
Hold on, say, would you say again? Elder and who?
Chardonnay. Or
Argel.
Argel.
Elvid. I'm going Elvid.
I'm going
Yeah.
Elder.
Fucks. The only reason Argel's on this list is because he's got a swear word for a last name.
Dude,
So.
I still remember Elder's goal against Porto.
Forte, yeah. I met him in
Super goal.
person.
Really?
He's cold, motherfucker. When I was 13 years old, cold.
Jay, what's your pick?
Elder.
Roger. Damn, that's a blast from the past.
Wow, that's
He used to score a lot of goals. One season, he scored a lot.
Roger or Kandarov?
Oh, buddy, Kondarov had a goal called off against Porto at the Stade de Zantes, and João Valverde was in the stand. He was fucking going crazy.
Fuck that
I remember watching that game on Ep23 Internacional, and we were going fucking ape shit because we thought we had scored the goal, and everybody was just going fucking mental.
What do you guys think?
I don't remember Kandarov that much.
You don't?
He was. I think he's the only Ukrainian that we've played. Well,
might be.
Sergei Yurin was Ukrainian, but he played for Russia because it was before the Soviet Union. I don't know. I would probably pick Kandarov because it was Vietnam. It was part of Vietnam.
No, I'm gonna pick Roger just because I remember Roger, and he scored some important goals for us, especially in Europa.
Dude, I don't know. That's a toss up. You can pick either one. Roger.
Kenny?
Yeah. I'll just split it. Kondarov.
All right. Last one. Oh my god. I'm picking again. I don't like this name. It was Bossier. Fuck that guy.
USA.
Rui Costa.
Rui Costa.
You might as well do another one, dude. There's only one name that can have a debate with that.
I'll give you another one. Vanoy Donk.
That's
That's
a good
Oh,
one.
that's interesting.
Vanoy Donk or
I like Van Eyck.
Calavo.
Kalavu?
Lalu, like the guy that's on TV?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I remember him.
See, Van Hooijdonk
remember
had a
him.
great year for us.
Yeah. And
He
he
only
left.
played 1 year. He
Only
scored
He
like
was so good.
21 goals. But that year was the year that we ended up finishing, what, 7th?
Yeah.
I think.
Him and John Tomas did so well together.
Yeah. That's a tough one because Kalavu has more of a pedigree. At this
I'm going to
team,
go
but-
Kalavu. I thought-
I would take Vanoy Donk. His free kicks were fucking amazing.
I would
I'm gonna
take
go
Van
Van
Hooijdonk
Hooijdonk.
just based on his career with Celtic. That's all.
We-
Like, if you're basing it on based on career, Van Hooijdonk's career blows
Oh, yeah.
Kalavu's out of the water.
Yeah, Kaladu. Yeah, I agree with that. But Kaladu, I remember him playing for Benfica. It wasn't the bad era of Benfica, and he
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was like he
Bad.
still controlled that midfield.
Yeah.
He put a lot of work for Benfica.
All right. Well, any final thoughts before we sign off, boys?
Oh boy, when are we doing the next podcast? Are we doing this on the Friday night or what?
How
I don't know.
about
We'll
it? How about if we win?
It's Saturday, dude.
If we win, if we
Hey,
win,
let's try doing the last 15 minutes of the game.
if we're
All
winning,
right, we'll talk.
We'll try.
we'll
What
do
are
a
the
pod-
chances there'll be a player sent off by that time?
I know,
Oh, dude.
Dude, honestly, Oscar, we can't put you live, dude. You'll be throwing, you'll be swearing, you'll be going.
That's true. I can't.
We'll
do
have to
that.
mute him. We'll have to
I'm saying you, but I'm the same way too. So I wanted to put the blame on you, though.
No, I do it. I know that. I know. I almost break my TV every single time if he plays.
All right, boys. Well, Sergio, thanks for joining us. It was a
Thanks.
pleasure having
Thanks for
It was a
coming.
pleasure.
man. Hey,
Thanks for
hopefully
joining.
hopefully we get a nice W this Friday, huh?
Hopefully,
Let's
we'll need it.
hope. Listen, this
Three
is good. This month is going to define our year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got
big
10,
time.
we got Taça de Liga, and then we've got Sporting, right? So
Hey, before we go,
what was that stretch again? It was Benfica, Braga.
Braga,
Benfica, Braga,
the
Nacional,
final,
and
and then the final, the Taça de Liga, potentially
Yeah,
against
the final.
Sporting or
I,
Porto. And
So
then
we got three out of the next 4 games that are really tough.
before we go, I just want to give a shout out to Sporting fans from yesterday. Biba! Hey, the cliff is coming. Look at the cliff. Shoo! Mama, I said the cliff. Let's see.
That's one less trophy now.
Yeah.
Hey, Oscar, one less trophy that they get to compete. So that's
I know. Hey, maybe now they play once every month.
well, it does
better.
concern me though because they're going to be playing only one game a week going forward.
Yeah,
right?
that
so
doesn't
after
worry.
January.
They play once a week now, and they lost. The only team that lost that plays the least games.
Dude, Oscar's so excited right now.
Of course, I'm waiting for the cliff. I'm waiting for the cliff, man. It's coming.
All right, boys. Well, it was a pleasure. Everyone in the chat, thanks for joining us in the chat. We'll be back at some point in the next couple of days, whether it's after the Porto game or early next week. Hopefully, it's with a win, 3 important points. But at the very least, we can't lose at the Estádio de Dragão.
Yeah,
thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you soon.
Later,
Take
boys.
it easy.